thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon, this morning, wherever you're located. I was looking at the attendees name. I see some familiar names on there, and many of you I know have been to EDS a few times. So I hope you're getting a kick out of this, as well as the true newbies. I'll give you my perspective. I think we start planning for EDS at Arrow on the last day of EDS. We literally we have our team come together at the end of the show, and we sit down and review everything while it's fresh in our minds. So, what just happened over the last 3 to 4 days? What did we like? What went well? What would we like to change for next year? And I think that's the biggest thing you can do, is as you get into a routine of attending EDS, that you do that while it's fresh in your mind. When we start to really plan in earnest, is around about that December, January time, and we lay out all of the meetings that we might have had the previous year, or any new ones that we want to hold this year. And we start reaching out to our supplier partners at that stage, at a very early stage, to start to define our calendar. So you can see the amount of work that goes into trying to ensure our schedule is as well defined as possible, with all of the people that we want to spend time with, and that we have the right level of attendance, and the right number of participants. To Dave's point, we have a lot of people there, and so we've got multiple meetings going on throughout the week, and multiple going on at the same time. Typically as we're coming up to it, we're on bi-weekly calls with our teams, and then as we get closer in the month before, we're on weekly calls, just to make sure our schedule is as crisp as possible. The key value that we take out of EDS, and I can say this from Mark's point of view as well, is it's an opportunity for us to have time with our supplier partners, but also their manufacturers' representatives at the same time. And you don't get many chances to do that and deliver one consistent message to all constituents in a supplier-distributor relationship. And even if that supplier doesn't necessarily engage manufacturers' reps, they will also bring their sales teams in for those discussions during EDS. So the biggest value we can extract from that is just that consistency of message. And typically, that's some things that fall through the cracks, right? If you're trying to do this separately, or trying to do this on an ad hoc basis. My key learnings for that is just to make the best use of your day. You will start early in the morning, and you will likely finish pretty late at night. There are breakfast opportunities, there are happy hour opportunities, there are evening events going on, and everything in between. And so try and fill your entire day up. It's a lot of travel involved. It can be expensive to make the trip, and so we truly try to max out our schedule, and use every hour that's possible. So I think for the most part, there are, to Dave's point, there are opportunities for you to engage in the association venues, in the Connections Cafe, with ECIA and with ERA. But they're on a very large scale, and the all industry reception as well on a large scale. But sometimes it's also great to be able to grab that private time, private one-on-one time with a supplier partner or a manufacturer's rep. And we certainly try and utilize all of those vehicles during our time in Vegas. So that's kind of the distributor view. I'll hand it across to Mark now and let him give his perspective on the view of a supplier.
Thanks, Graham. So similar to what Graham said, we start planning, the day after the meeting, after the last meeting that we had at the conference, and we basically look at the same thing like Graham said. What did we like? What went well? What didn't go well? How do we want to change it? And so we do that while we've got our team together. But then coming into this year, we pretty much fill the schedule. It's pretty much done by November, December, right? So our whole meeting block for the couple of the 3 days we're there is full, and it's already done. And that includes our meetings with our partners. as well as dinners and different evening events. A number of the distributors have different social events that we're part of that. Quite honestly, we bring a pretty big team from our side. Relative to everybody's got a different size, but we'll bring 8+ people because there's enough events going on each day that we have to divide and conquer, right? So we can't, you can't cover everything with one person. You need multiple people to cover the different events going on if you've got different distributors and different things happening. So that's something that we found we have to have enough people there to cover everything that's happening. From a manufacturer, we fill the schedule. It's full. We don't have any more space, like I said, to do more. So it's really important that you get who you want to meet with. You're doing that way up front, and you're doing it early because there's really not a lot of opportunity to just have a ad hoc meeting with someone other than outside of some social event where you'll see them, like the all industry event or maybe the cafe or something like that. As a manufacturer, we've got it a little bit easier. We're in our suite pretty much all day because we're planted and all of our meetings take place there. So our distributors and our rep partners and that they're coming in and out of the meetings as they happen. So we're kind of stay put, and we don't have as much of that interaction in the cafe and things like that. It's more the industry events and those things that you'll see some of the manufacturers, and many of the manufacturers are the same way where they've got a suite and they're pretty much there all day. You're going to see them at those different events in the evening or maybe at a breakfast event, but during the day they're pretty much planted inside their suite as everybody else is moving around for the different meetings. I mean, the big value for those, and there's a few on the list there that I recognize. It's not your first rodeo with EDS, so but I'm sure there's a lot of new people there. But the big value for the new people is that are coming is everybody is there, and you are. Yes, you're flying in there and you're spending 3-4 days there, but from an efficiency standpoint, everyone in the industry is there. All the distributor partners are there. Some of the executives that I might only see 2 times a year are there, and I'm able to meet with them and have conversations about our business and where we're going and what our initiatives are and how do we partner together. And so you don't get that opportunity, but when everybody's in the same place at the same time, the value of that, when you look at it, is extremely high because of just the efficiency that you could see so many people in the industry. And even those that you don't have set meetings with, you have opportunities to see them, let's say in the evening or at a social event or a cocktail hour or a distributor event. You have all these other touch points where you can catch up with people. So that's the high value. So if you're coming and you've decided to come, that's where you get the investment, the return on your investment. If you've done a good plan and you make those plans to meet everybody and put that there. But that's how we measure it, and that's why we bring a large team. We can cover a lot of touch points with the different people. So that's why we continue to go. We are always there, and you can't run around the U.S. and meet with all the people you're going to meet there in just a matter of days. It would take you weeks and a lot of money to do it. So that's the value. That's a huge value for EDS when you look at the big picture of it.
A couple of things that come to mind as listen to both Mark and Graham. So one of the things that it may seem a little incidental, but it's really not. If you're going to come to, excuse me, if you're going to come to EDS, stay. This year it's the Mirage, and I think we've been to the Mirage now the last couple 2 or 3 years, and I think we may have another year left on our contract. But if you're going to come to EDS, get a room in the hotel which is hosting EDS. We've been going to Las Vegas now for a very long time and sort of rotate around the various hotels. We'll put together a contract with a venue, and it typically ends up being a multi-year deal. It's the best way for the organization to do it. And also it allows the visitors to kind of get used to the expectations for that space. But some people will come to EDS and stay offsite at a different hotel. There's a couple of challenges there, and I really wouldn't suggest you do that. First, it is exhausting to stay at one location and then have to go over to the space at where the event is being held. If you got a break in the day, it's nice to be able to hop in the elevator, go up to your suite, and just sit and watch the news, or get a little bit more organized for the balance of the day. So I would suggest that you not go to some offsite location because maybe it's a little less expensive or what have you. I'd really suggest that you stay, in this case, at the Mirage. I'm assuming that everybody's here has registered and is coming to EDS. And what I mean by that is sometimes there are people in our industry, in all the member types, that will decide not to register for EDS, but to take advantage of the fact that everybody's there. So they'll come to Vegas, come to the venue, grab a table at the coffee shop, and hope to take advantage of having literally the entire industry there in Vegas without registering for EDS. And so I would encourage everybody, just make sure that you do register for the show. The fee structure is very modest, and it's your way of supporting what these associations have done to gather all of the players in the industry at one place in one time. So it's really a pretty modest investment on your part to make sure that you're supporting the structure that's being created for your convenience. The other thing that came to mind is the timing of EDS has expanded a bit, where it's not at all unusual for the weekend before EDS, or maybe even spilling into the couple of days after EDS, for some of the manufacturers or the distributors to have other meetings there, again, while all the players in the industry are on site. So it could be someone who holds a golf event on Saturday of that weekend. Or for us, very often, some number of our manufacturers will decide to have a sales meeting coincidental with EDS. So I think everybody's trying to find ways to take the most advantage of having the strong participation that EDS has and getting the most bang for their buck in the course of the week.
I think that's a great point, Dave. And just one thing I would add on that is moving around. Staying on the property is the best solution. And trust me, from someone who's tried something else, it really doesn't work. So I would just echo Dave's comments on that. The other thing I would just add is moving around the Mirage, moving from the show floor to the meeting rooms to supplier suites in different towers. It's not a small hotel. Sometimes you could be going from one floor to another. Sometimes you could be getting an awful lot of steps in to get to the conference venue. So just give yourselves that 10 to 15 minutes maybe to move between meeting locations.
Yeah, but I think what they said is, we, as a manufacturer, we arrive on Sunday and don't leave till Friday, because we have just what he said, which is, we have meetings starting on Monday. Some of them are internal, but we already have some advanced meetings with distributors and other partners in the industry happening ahead of time. So that's very correct, that it's not just the 3 days, it's before and after that. Everyone's using the available time, like I said, of everybody being in one place in the same week. You can get a lot of face time there.
Yeah, because if you haven't been to Vegas before, you look out the window and you think, oh, wait a minute, that hotel's right next door. That's, it's like a block away. Good luck with that. It's anything but that.
I'll pick up on the reception. I think the reception was introduced probably 6 or 7 years ago, roughly speaking. And it's a great opportunity to kick the show off. before the meetings really start in earnest. If you're registered for EDS, then you have access to the reception. It's a very social event, opportunities to win prizes, opportunities to meet people before their week really kicks off, and a very good opportunity just to get the show kicked off in the right way. So I would encourage as many people to go as possible. You'll learn a few things. You might meet a few people that you haven't met before, and you might even walk out the door with a gift or two.
What you really can't do is you can't just get in one of the towers and go up to somebody's suite and knock on the door. And I'm not sure whether it was Graham or Mark had mentioned that in past EDSs, a manufacturer's there and they want to get involved with distribution and have always hoped that Arrow would take the line. So, a contingent ends up on the 17th floor knocking on the door in the middle of a meeting that they're having with a major supplier. So that's that kind of spontaneity is discouraged, I should say. But as far as the Connection Cafe, in addition to the ERA booth and the ECIA booth, it's just a kind of a meeting space where, there's some places where you can hook your phone up to charge, and there's a lot of seating. There's a little bit of a coffee setup so that you can get some refreshments. There also are some, particularly some manufacturers who have a small booth area there. Usually it's not, maybe companies that are at EDS for the first time or are at EDS hoping to attract representatives and distributors to consider their line. So they may be down on the show floor, so to speak. But the Connections Cafe basically is a good place to go if you're able to schedule a meeting with someone and maybe you're not on site and don't have an obvious space to meet. You can do it at the Connections Cafe, and it's pretty convenient for that. It's a great place to go, in the course of the day if you've got a half an hour break and you just want to, again, go grab some coffee and maybe run into some colleagues. It's so funny when you're walking around EDS. It's amazing how many people you see passing in the night where you wave and say hi, and it's good to see you. But I mean, literally everybody's there. And it can be a pretty frenetic schedule in the course of the day, but it's ultimately all about the networking, to be sure.
Yeah, and I think David makes a good point there, right? That there are other people within the Connections Cafe, service providers and partners that locate themselves there. That if you're looking for some opportunities to engage with someone around point of sale data collection analysis, something like that, then come to the Connections Cafe, because there are people like that right there to welcome you in and have a conversation with you about that.
So all of that then ties back into the whole idea of, if you're going to go, just try to map out what you'd like to accomplish. And even though, here we are, approaching the second week in March, you've still got time to at least reach out to whoever you think it might be appropriate to connect with and maybe grab some time. So I would say the worst thing you can do is just, show up, cross your fingers and hope for the best. So, if you can take some time now to take a look at those connections you might like to make and reach out, I think it'll be much more productive for you.
Ryan Reister, I'm ECI's General Counsel and the Executive Vice President for the EDS Show Corporation. Really glad all of you joined us today, and really looking forward to meeting you all at EDS in May. But to help facilitate those of you who are still trying to organize your schedules, we've done some research, and we found that there might be a number of you that are still either coming for the first time or still have a little bit of space on your dance card, so to speak, that you'd like to fill up. And so we're trying to help you guys out with that. So we've instituted what we're calling a matchmaking tool. It's available on the EDS website. I'm going to drop the link in the chat over here for everyone, so that you've got it and you can see what's there. It's pretty straightforward. If it's a connection you're looking to make, we're just going to ask you to put your information in and let us know who you're looking to connect with, the type of partners you're looking to connect with, and then we can put your information out there and let others know that that's what you're looking to do. So that will help, I think, with the pre-scheduling. We understand that, you might not be able to fill up your dance card on the way between now and May. And so we're also going to have an opportunity there on site within the Connections Cafe area for, pretty low tech option, but we're going to have an opportunity there where it's basically a connections board. And if you have time on your schedule and you're looking to hook up with, whether it's a service provider or a distributor or rep or manufacturer, we're going to have a mechanism there so that, you can hopefully do that a little bit more easily on the fly than has been available in years past, because we have, what's great, we have a large number of attendees that span the whole gamut, from people whose dance cards are full starting in October, November, December of the prior year to folks who, maybe have a little bit of extra time and are really coming because they're hoping to make those connections formally. So we're trying to accommodate everybody, make it as easy for everyone and as productive as possible. But the best thing I can encourage you to do is come to the Connections Cafe. If you're looking, not to be cliche, but if you're looking to make connections, that's the hub for that. There's going to be a lot of opportunities there. We're going to encourage people to hang out there. If you do have free time and you don't want to trek all the way through the casino back to your room, we want to make it comfortable and inviting. You'll have a great opportunity to connect with the associations, ERA and ECIA. Even if you're not a member currently, it's a great way to meet association leadership, learn more about the value those associations can add to you and to your business. And so I encourage you to stop by and check those out while you're in Vegas as well.
Hey, Dave, could you explain the all industry reception a little bit? It's literally hundreds of people that come. It is a great networking opportunity, right? You can bump into people, exchange some cards and so forth. Can you talk a little bit about the experience there?
Well, it's one of the pluses about it is, rather than trying to wave at somebody as they're, running by you because they're late for their next meeting, it's just a nice social time where everybody gets together and, there's beverage service and you can just kind of mingle with your friends. So it's no more complicated than that. There are some nice prizes, but we won't get back into that. But there are other events that are happening throughout the week, and they tend to be specific in some way or another. So, for instance, the distributors tend to have receptions, and they've already sent out invitations for the attendees to those receptions. Other similar situations like that, there are a couple of breakfasts that are by invitation, but the all industry reception is exactly that. If you're there and you're registered for the show, you're welcome to be there. And it's a great opportunity just to reconnect, or to, go up to somebody that you've hoped to meet and introduce yourself and take that opportunity to do so.
Hey, Ryan, if I'm a manufacturer and I'm looking for some manufacturers reps to pick up my line, can you tell me how maybe ERA or ECIA, both associations are headquartered in the Connections Cafe? How could they help me if I'm a manufacturer?
Well, I actually think Dave touched on that when he initially made his opening comments, that ERA maintains an active list of manufacturers who are looking for reps. And so again, it's about, coming down to the Connections Cafe, interacting with the two associations. They're going to have their finger on the pulse of the membership and of those who are there and trying to make connections. And so those two association booths will be staffed throughout the entirety of the event, so you don't have to worry about missing someone. You'll always be able to find somebody there, a representative of the associations, who can, maybe make a warm introduction for you, or at least point you in the right direction. So I highly encourage you to stop by. It's that alone is a huge value add of membership and associating yourself and your company with the associations. But you can also learn about all the other things that they can do for you and your business throughout the year.
Before you go to EDS, you can reach out to ERA. You go on the website, era.org, and it'll show you how you can provide that information up front. So at the very beginning of the show, even before the show, they send out information to the representatives that are coming to EDS to let them know which manufacturers have already raised their hand and said, hey, we're looking for representatives in these territories for these products. and that'll, I think you have a much better chance of actually setting up an appointment if you do that. So if you go to era.org, there's a great staff at the organization to help you do just that.
For those who have joined us, I think you can see it's a very spirited and highly energized organization, and all of the attendees that come are very open to conversation and so forth. So if anybody does have any questions moving forward, Ryan Reister, and on our website, you can reach out. We're here to help you any way we possibly can to ensure that you have a successful event. So if questions do arise, please reach out to us. And what is it? March 10th, we're I think at about 8 weeks and counting. We hope to see you there. Introduce yourselves, and let's have a really wonderful EDS 2023. Our theme this year is Reignite, and I think that's really what we're looking to do, is create a little bit of spark of energy and some new connections. Ryan Reister is our new leader for the event, and he's got nothing but great ideas. So any parting thoughts, Ryan, for everybody?
No, I just appreciate everybody's time today. Appreciate the interest in EDS, especially those of you who are veterans and still decided to join us today. I think that says a lot about your commitment to EDS and the success of the event. So thank you. I can just reiterate what Bob said. Come see us in the Connections Cafe when you're out there in Vegas. Never hesitate to introduce yourself or ask questions, and we're here to make sure you have a successful event.